Alright, I'm going to do a video here. I was tagged by Plantbased Outdoors. Kyle over there, Kyle, tagged me in this, and he's one of my fellow Oklahoma in the state YouTuber outdoor guys, and he tagged me in this, which is cool, man. Appreciate that. And it's your 3 most sentimental knives, and so I had to think about that a little bit, and you know, so the sentimental knives is not what I'm going to show is not really what I use that much, because I have different knives that I use, and you know, for outdoor stuff, like, you know, you've seen me with my Tops 107 Steel Eagle video. That's, you know, it's not really a sentimental knife for me. I mean, it's a great knife, but sentimental knives. One, we're going to start off here with a fun one, and it's just really not so much a knife, but my oldest boy here, he gave me this. He's a sword collector. He likes to collect swords. He's got samurai swords, he's got medieval swords and things like that, and I love swords too. I just don't have any. I've had them, you know, but when I think of a sword, I want a sword that, that's a real sword, not just a decorative sword. I want a real sword, and, like, I mean, we're talking hand forged, everything, and they're expensive, and I can think of plenty other things to buy than just having a real sword. But, you know, anyway, he buys some. He's got some pretty good ones, but he gave me this because he was able to get a deal on this. A little dirty there, but he gave me he got a deal on these when he bought them. He got like a deal. He got 2 for $10. So, and it's just stainless steel. It's made in China. It's not really that sharp, although it can be sharpened a little bit. It's got a little edge on it. It's got a little serrated edge here, but, you know, and it's even got where it's been ground down there, you can probably put an edge on that if you wanted to. Really wouldn't use it for anything, but it's sentimental to me because he gave it to me, and it's, you know, it's cool. It's a cool thing, but you know, it's not really made for, you know, I mean, I guess you could wax stuff down with it if you needed to, but I've never used it for anything. It's actually sitting next to the side of my bed. It's more of a self-protection thing where I can get to my rifle if I needed to, you know, get to this first, get to that, but if it came down to it. But yeah, he gave it to me. It's pretty cool. Comes in this sheath thing, you know, can hang it over your back and everything, but be good for like zombies or something, you know, because even though it might not hack through the jungle brush with it, can hack through people with it, that's for sure. And this, I have this, and you can see my handle's broken here on it. I've had this for, man, 7 or 8 years, but it's just a plastic handle. Tried to pound on something with it and it broke. But I bought this when we went on a family trip, and this is why it's sentimental to me, is we went on a family trip. We went down to Padre Island to go to the beach and everything, like 7, 8 years ago, something like that. And this was just one of those knives that you see in the counter at one of those convenient gas stations, you know, convenience stores, you know, on the side of the highway and stuff. It's got all the, you know, a lot of times they have a bunch of stuff you can buy in there, knickknacks and whatever. Well, this was in there, and I've painted it since then. It was silver, and it had like a, I guess they call it a shark skin. I don't know if you can see that, but it's real faint there. It has like a, they call it a, like underneath that paint, there's kind of a frosted little piece in there. It's like right there too. But it was a shark skin camo or something for like a diver's knife or whatever, diver's camouflage. But I painted it black because it was mostly silver anyway, and all that stuff was coming off. But I paid $10 for this, and I need to, you know, I don't ever use this. I used it. I did use it though for quite a while before I got my Tops knife. And I've beat the hell out of this knife. I've used it. It's been bent a little bit here and there, but I've straightened it back out. It's just stainless steel. It was $10. And at Smith & Wesson, I've seen advertises a knife just like this for, like, I don't know, 30, 40, $50, and it's got their name across it and a logo. I'm just like, really? I paid $10 for the exact, I mean, it's the exact same thing. So they probably sourced it out or something like that. But I mean, you know, it's it can hold a good edge. I've used it for batoning. I've used it for everything, you know, stuff. Just used it. And I need to replace the handle because I've been wanting to put some paracord around it, but like I said, since I don't use it, it's called, I can see the name on it, Hero Edge is what it's called. 440 stainless steel, China, of course. But for 10 bucks, I've got a good use out of this knife for 10 bucks. But that is why it's sentimental to me, is because it was on a family trip, and we had a good time playing down there at Padre Island and the beach and stuff like that. But I got this, I think it was on the way back actually when I got it, and it was 10 bucks. 10 bucks, and you saw I put paracord all around it and everything like that. But anyway, for 10 bucks, man, it's put a good knife so far. Anyway, and here's another one. It's an old timer. Can't beat these little old knives by Schrade, you know. This was handed down to me by my mother. This belonged to my uncle, her brother that passed away, that I actually never knew because my parents, my birth parents, I'm adopted. It's a long story. It's a Lifetime movie. We won't go into that because we'll be here all day. But it could be a Lifetime movie. I'm not kidding. But I know my real birth parents in the last 10 years now, and they're good people and everything like that. And it was a long story. Didn't have a choice kind of deal because I was born in the 60s. Things were different then with adoption, you know. But I never got to meet my uncle. He passed away. But this belonged to him, so this is sentimental to me. But it's also sentimental to me because my adopted parents that I knew, grew up knowing as my parents, you know. I mean, I always knew I was adopted, but my dad carried one of these too, though. And but he had it was like a bone-colored handle, and I had it for a little while. And my dad died when I was 16, and my brother, who was 15 at the time, you know, but years later, you know, my mom, my adopted mom, gave us like some of his stuff, and there was a knife in there. But you know, like, I don't know, 15 years ago or so, my brother and I were sitting around talking, and my dad died in 1984, so that's how long ago that was. But we were sitting around about 15 years ago talking about my dad and stuff, and I had that knife, and I gave it to my brother, you know, and let him have it. And my brother, actually, my adopted brother too, he passed away 3 years ago in a car accident, and I don't know where that knife is. So maybe one of his ex-girlfriends or something had it. But I don't know what happened to that knife. I would think that it would still be in his stuff, but who knows. But it reminds me of that too, though. So, but these were good little knives. I mean, they're sharp, they're good, they keep in your pocket, you always got one, and all that. Now, my last knife that I have, sentimental to me, I have not had it that long. Probably only had it about, I don't know, 3 or 4 months. But it's this, and I made a video on this. It's just a railroad spike knife, and I told a story about the railroad spike and what it, you know, so it, you know, what it means to me, because it was on a piece of family land when we were kids. My parents had bought, I don't know, it's like an extra 20 acres or something that was a distance from the farm that I grew up on, about 20 minutes away or something. But there had been an old railroad that had run through there, and it, you know, hadn't been a railroad for many years, even back then. And we were probably like 10, 11, something like that. Well, our parents made us clean up the mess because there was like a ton of in the field of it. There was a ton of these railroad spikes and stuff like that, and we had bunches of them. But there was only a few left that I had found. But this, you know, we had picked those up, slaved, you know, hot summer days, cleaning up tons, literally tons probably, of old railroad spikes, because the railroad had been removed and the tracks had been taken away, but the, you know, the hump of it was still there. But these were all laying in there, and then they were going to plant crops and stuff like that, and you know, they didn't want this stuff in the field tearing up their equipment and whatever have you. But these are old railroad spikes. This spike is probably over 100 years old. I'm sure of it. But my brother-in-law also, he makes knives. He's been getting into knife making and stuff like that with his redneck forge, is what I call it, because he uses just a charcoal a smoker, basically, and he gets it red hot. And he made this, you know, he made this. So I've always liked these railroad spike knives. I've seen them advertised. I've seen them at like swap meets and gun shows and all kinds of stuff like that where people have been making these. Well, he made this, so that's what's sentimental to me. One, because it connects me to my childhood and my family and my brother-in-law. You know, since he made this. So, and man, this thing, I don't know what kind of steel it is because it's 100 years old, but it is solid and it's sharp. But it's a good knife, you know, and I haven't really used it yet, but I will. And I don't see why it wouldn't take a good beating on it. But I really like it. I always wanted one of these, and every time I saw them, they were always like hundreds of dollars, $100 to $200 a piece, you know. And I'm like, good Lord, you know, I'm a gun guy mostly, you know, so I mean, I would rather spend $100 on a bunch of ammo than, you know, one of these that I really wouldn't use as much, because, you know, my other knife that I have is I really don't look at it as a sentimental, my Tops knife, I don't look at it as a sentimental knife. I look at it more as a tool. So that's kind of the deal with that, and that's why I didn't bring it out. Plus, I'm thinking about getting rid of that one and buying another one that I've actually, you know, been looking at. So, and I may just keep that one, you know, as a backup too. But that's, you know, this knife right here, I always carry this one with me, even that I don't hardly ever use it anymore. It's always in my pack, and I keep it with me. And in case somebody else needs to use a knife or something for anything while I'm using mine. So I always keep that one with me anyway, no matter what. But that's my sentimental knives. Now here's for my tags. You're under no obligation to do this if you don't want to. This is just a fun thing. I was tagged by Plantbased Outdoors, and so I'm going to pass on these tags. Here's one right here. It's a Texas girl. I've been watching her channel. She's very cool. Got some very cool stuff. She likes to do a lot of overnights and just little projects and good cooking and things like that at BoHoBushcraft. And I really enjoy her channel. And guys, check it out. It's pretty good stuff. Then another one that's Paul's Bushcraft and Survival Cooking. Very cool channel. Guy gets out and does a lot of cooking stuff. He does a lot of things on his channel. And I just recently became a subscriber of his, and I've checked out some of his stuff. Haven't checked it all out. And good channel though, but go check it out though. And another one here, I got Alpha Charlie Concepts. So tagging him in this. He does a lot of military gear testing, you know, camouflage testing and stuff. I enjoy his channel. Been following him for a while. Very cool stuff. Very informative. Seems like a genuine guy, and I really enjoy his channel. Been following him for quite a while now, and really enjoy his channel. So then Kentucky Woodsman, and he's got all kinds of good stuff on his channel. Go check him out too. A lot of outdoor stuff, a lot of some reviews, some other things he's got going. Very cool channel. And then Central Oregon Survival Network. Great channel. Guy does a lot of hiking and overnight stuff and just various stuff like that. Beautiful country where he's at, and all of them where they're at, they got their beautiful areas. They're all from different parts of the country. But yeah, like I said, you're under no obligation, but it's just your 3 most sentimental knives. You know, maybe not so much of what you use and carry, you know, even it may be sentimental, but tell us your stories. You know, like I said, you're under no obligation to do the tag, you know, if you want. But those are my tags. Go check out every one of their channels. They're very cool channels. And that's all I can really say about that. Hope you enjoyed it, and thanks Plant-Based Outdoors, Kyle, for tagging me in this. Very cool. Keep it heavy, as always.